I think there's a lot of great things we can learn from silent era films, especially the foreign films. A lot of German expressionism really influenced me a lot. Let's see, some of the Italian cinema, The Bicycle Thief. Doesn't get much better than The Bicycle Thief. I think that is the pinnacle of cinema. Just such a fast-paced, interesting movie. It just, if you don't get The Bicycle Thief, don't talk to me.
I'm Emmett LaFave. I'm the director. I'm responsible for this mess.
I'm Tom Vernon. I am the photographer, cameraman, and also I do some lighting every now and then. Yeah.
I'm Quentin Nolan. I'm the writer of this masterpiece. I wear a lot of hats on this. I'm the executive producer. I'm going to be editing, take care of all the grip work and crafty and everything like that. Really excited to be doing this. It's really a passion project, and I feel like all these wonderful people coming together, I can't take credit completely. It's really a team effort. You know, it really takes a village to raise a child.
You know, for the last 2.5 hours we've been setting up these studio lights. We got a softbox here and a standard issue umbrella. I mean, lighting is so important. For a 2-minute scene, honestly, it was worth it.
With writing, it's crucial to know the classic functions taught to us by the ancient Greeks. For instance, double meanings.
What do we have here?
She's dead.
And now, so am I.
This was a really exciting project from the start. When Quentin first showed me this script, I was ecstatic, and I knew instantly that this would have to retain many of the same qualities of a classic noir. That meaning there would be lots of monologues, and that's not because I'm too incompetent to secure and use high-quality sound equipment. It's because artistically that's the way I wanted it to go down.
Another sleepless night, and for the Bureau, another dead dame. But she was no mere body count to me. She was the dame I loved. Now I walk the smoky streets at night with no justice in my heart, no sense of duty. A broken man. Once a hero, now a deadbeat. Like my father before me.
Talk about some of the challenges you have being a filmmaker in 2017.
2017, so much incredible equipment that we can use, right? But I like in many aspects of filmmaking, to stick with the classics in terms of style and in terms of equipment. I film strictly on real film. I don't use digital. I can tell the difference. I can spot it from 10 miles away. So it's key to use real film. And I make sure that whatever cinematographer I'm working with knows exactly how to work with film, and digital is just an abomination to me.
I think politics and film go together like peanut butter and jelly, you know? Perfect combination, and I like when stuff in films is really relevant to what's happening in the outside world. When I go to the theater, I don't want to escape from reality. I want to be reminded of it. And I'd like it to be fed to me in a really subtle way, or sometimes a not so subtle way. Just kind of, sometimes I enjoy seeing the director's political views in my superhero movies. Whether it be a really healthy liberal stance on immigration, or gender rights, or you know, shit like that. I really love hearing about it in my superhero movies.
You know, one of the films that made me really think in the last few years, since I can remember, was Interstellar by Christopher Nolan. The cinematography alone and the attention to scientific accuracy was something I have not seen in a film for many years to come. You could almost say that I don't really care about film. I just care if it's scientifically accurate, because I'm a douchebag.
Everyday life, honestly. Everyday life is where I draw my inspiration from. It could be something that happened to me that day at work, or on the train, or you know, some story that I read about that I got some kind of emotion from. Really, you can find stories and inspiration anywhere, really. When I sit down, though, and I'm actually about to begin writing, literally nothing is going through my head. What can be said about modern cinema? Not enough good things. I love the direction things are going in. More superhero movies, more remakes. Making money. It's the way to do it. That's what people want to see. Like, forget original material, forget bothering with a spec script. Just write Spider-Man 6. Like, that's what people want.
Totally agree.
Like, out with the old, in with the new. And then remake that. Because that's what people need to see, you know? I don't want to have to think about what I'm watching. I want to know exactly, like, hey, heroes win, villains lose.
I've taken Screenwriting 1 about 5 times now. I've been at this college for the last 5.5 years, working on my associates. But I'm really in it for the knowledge, you know? I retake these classes because I want to.
Chris Nolan is a god. Same with Quentin Tarantino, a god.
God.
Pulp Fiction, nothing better than Pulp Fiction. Reservoir Dogs, the best. Quentin Tarantino is so underrated.
Very underrated. He's one of the greats. He's right up there.
He's better than Orson Welles. He's better than Scorsese. Where you find your actors and where you find your inspiration?
You know, actors, that's a tough one. There's so many faces out there that could potentially fill the role that I'm looking for. For instance, the guy that sits next to me in math class, or some of the young up-and-comers in the theater department. But at the end of the day, as the writer and director and the visionary, I find myself most capable to fill those roles because I really understand what I need. You know, when you get an actor, you have to pay them, you have to feed them, and they don't get the vision like you do. They don't get the artistry. They may have the talent, they may have taken a few classes here and there, but I have the emotion behind the film, behind the story.
One of the reasons we got into film is because of Chris Nolan. We saw The Dark Knight, and
Amazing film.
talk about a masterpiece.
Every aspect of that film.
The best. Dark Knight, I mean, I go to bed at night sometimes and I wake up thinking of The Dark Knight. So I'm so pumped about it still from the first time I saw it. The Bicycle Thief. Alright, let's go. So, The Bicycle Thief, The Dark Knight, Pulp Fiction. Alright, so we're going to do a little behind the scenes action right here. I'm a really big fan of Ray Harryhausen and a lot of the guys who are pioneers of practical effects. So what we want to do in this one is have some really practical effects. So here we have a beach cottage right here, and here we have the car. So you see it's not really a car. We didn't have to borrow a Ferrari or anything like that. We just used one of these, and it really gets the same effect, you know. So we have this, we have the pool in the back, so it gives the illusion of a beachfront cottage, okay? Really excited because I think on film it's going to translate to be like this, you know, huge place, and it's going to look really cool. All right, we're going to do a run through. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, take 2. That's perfect. Good work.
When I look in the mirror, I now see a faceless man, soulless, ever since that dame died.
Now you see the murder weapon was revealed, covered in honey. Was it a metaphor? We'll never know.
So here's your main character, right? Right, this, not the best example, but Ellen Ripley, okay? Ripley, sorry, I've only seen Ellen probably 30 minutes in. But I love Prometheus. Love that movie. I watched the whole thing. That's a good one. I heard that ties in pretty well. Those type of movies I like, that really inspire me.
People think characters are all about personality and motivations and origins and emotions, hopes and dreams, things like that. But you can really write a great character with 3 easy steps: ethnicity, gender, and financial income. If we know those three things about a character, we know whether they're good or bad, whether we should feel for them or not. You have a solid foundation for great writing. So when you sit down to write an amazing script, what goes through your mind in terms of the writing process?
Well, you know, it's really interesting because I usually like to do like a full 500 to 600 page outline, usually first, really knowing exactly how this story and the sequels and everything after that is going to be. So pretty much I write a novel every time I write a script, and then I do scene cards. I do about 200 scene cards. Pre-planning is really where it's at. You don't really want to dive into the writing too soon. It usually takes about a year or 2 or 3 or 4. But yeah, I can't say enough about pre-planning. You want to have a clear direction on where your story's going. And but yeah, the actual process of sitting down and writing really isn't all that interesting to me. I prefer telling people about it beforehand and kind of getting them excited about it, and then not actually following through.
What I really like about, the Aliens movie, you always have a female hero or a heroist. Heroist. I think that's how you say it. What I like about that is, you don't typically see a girl actually, being the good guy or a good woman. It's different change in pace of movies. It's what I like about movies these days. You get more of that, a lot more of that lately, and it's really sexy sometimes seeing a girl whooping ass.
It's really funny. Some days, you'll be on a roll and you'll really be writing, and you're getting page after page finished. And then other times I'll sit down and I'll spend hours upon hours, and I'll only write like one sentence. Sometimes it's just how it goes.
If you're just starting as a screenwriter, best advice I could give you, rewrite. It's all about rewrites. I just recently went in to start a surreal horror short, and after 10 to 20 rewrites, it became a 2-hour buddy comedy. So that just goes to show that I have no idea what I'm doing. Tell me what one or a few of your favorite actors are and why.
Oprah Winfrey, Color Purple, because she's awesome. If you don't like her, get the fuck out. Ellen DeGeneres, Finding Dory. If you don't like her, get the fuck out, there's the door. Third, David Hasselhoff, probably. For obvious reasons. He's a badass.
I would really like to see an overweight minority boy or a girl, trans ideally, hero on the scene that could take Iron Man. I'd love to see one of those heroes just take Iron Man down in one punch. I've heard the new Iron Man is Riri Williams. She's a 15-year-old black girl, and I am so excited to start writing a script about Riri Williams.
I also really like the girl who played Rey in The Force Awakens. She was really cool, really dynamic. And she just kicked ass, One thing I really loved about The Force Awakens, having such a strong female lead, was like, she didn't really need any character development. You already knew she was a badass. And like, she could fly the Millennium Falcon without knowing how, like, beating up like, what was his name? Kylo Ren, like no problem. Like, she was just a boss, I want to see more of that. I think James talked about that a little bit. But it's just so refreshing to see a character like that. It really doesn't need any explanation or background story. It doesn't really have to make sense, just as long as it kind of meets a quota. I really like that. Okay, so Bicycle Thief. Bicycle Thief, Dark Knight, Pulp Fiction, Citizen Kane, Strange Wilderness Steeps On. Alright, so The Bicycle Thief, Dark Knight.
Here again is Vittorio De Sica's greatest triumph and most famous film, The Bicycle Thief. This is the film found on every 10 best list for a quarter of a century, having captured every honor the world of film can bestow, including an Academy Award nomination for Best Screenplay and the coveted Oscar for the Best Foreign Film.
Naugahyde.